Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. This is Mat Chat. Today, folks, I wanted to share, I guess you could call it my origin story, the story about when I first pulled up to the Martial Arts Academy that would end up being the place that I got my black belt, the place where I started teaching, and the place where I really became a martial artist. So let's go ahead and get started. So I made an appointment with Evolve Academy, and I was supposed to be there at a particular time. So the first time I pulled up to the parking lot, I sat in my car, scared, watched the clock tick, 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 and it ticked about 15 minutes past the time that I was supposed to be there. And that gave me my excuse to leave. Turned my car back on, pulled out the parking lot, and went home. Now, someone from there called me up to follow up to see what happened, to reschedule. So I did reschedule. I don't remember exactly what I told him what happened, but I'm sure it was a lie. So I rescheduled. It was for a couple days later. This time I pulled into the parking lot, turned my car off, got my stuff, walked through the parking lot up to the front door. Then I turned around, walked back to my car, put the key in the car, and went home. So that's the second time. Again, scared. And then the third time, we made another appointment. The third time, I finally walked in, tried a class. It was great. But what I realized that day was that the part of that whole journey that I thought was going to be the most difficult, which is going in there and training, sweating, not being good at something, all of those things that I thought were the scariest parts of the whole thing, I realized that the scariest part was actually getting out of my car and walking to the place and walking through the door. Because when I got on the other side of that door, what I found was a whole lot of people basically trying to do what I'm trying to do. I found a whole lot of people, some of them were better than others in the stuff that we was learning. Some of them sucked more than I did. As a matter of fact, a lot of them sucked more than I did. But more importantly, what I found was the person that I wanted to be, was the person that I was meant to be. Now, I don't know where I mustered up the strength, because that was it was so scary. And the thing is, as I, over the years, as I talked to, being in the fitness industry, being in the martial arts industry, as I talked to more and more people, I realized that this is a common experience that folks go through. But I don't know where the courage came from for me to confront that walk to the front door. But I'm so glad it came through, because it wasn't for me. I didn't have the strength. I didn't have the courage. Something told me to put one more foot in front of one other one. One more foot in front of the other. Do it one more time to get you through that threshold, to get you through that doorway. And I did it. And that strength, that courage has been the biggest contributor to the successes that I've seen in life. The biggest contributor to my personality, to defining who I am as a person. That, looking in hindsight, that luck of the draw, that I was able to muster up the strength and the courage to walk through that parking lot and get through that door, was the most important journey that I had ever embarked on. And I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky that someone reached down and pushed me through that door. But again, what I did realize was that is the most difficult part. Because when you get in there and when you start working out, you're just trying to get to the next workout. It's not that difficult. What I also realized is that that voice of doubt never goes away. We just get better at dealing with it. We just amass the evidence to show us that voice is not telling us the truth. But that voice doesn't go away. I say this to folks all the time. Every time that I get in my car to go train, the thought, the doubts, the discouragement, that voice is always there. So if you're thinking that it's going to go away, it doesn't go away. You just get better at dealing with it. You just realize that it's not telling you the truth. And like I said, it's a common thing. A lot of times people feel like it's only them. Something is wrong with them. Why are they so scared? You feel like a coward. But that coward inside of you never dies. It's always whispering. And in some of us, it's screaming. It always tries to catch your ear, to get your ear. And we just get better at shutting it out. So when you are feeling this way, understand that everybody feels this way, even after 25 years. Like I said, every time I get in my car to go train, that voice of doubt, that voice of discouragement, that voice that says, just take this day or take today off, is there, is present. So you're not the only one. Now, we've identified that it's a common thing that a lot of people go through. It's a common voice that everybody hears. So now let's talk about, how do we deal with that? How do we shut that voice out? How do we overcome that voice? First of all, the more we listen to the voice, the louder the voice gets. The more we entertain what the voice is saying, the harder it gets to shut it out. So we have to shut it out quickly as soon as it comes up. Well, how do you do that? You do that, and I'll go back to that original story. You do that by putting one foot in front of the other, regardless of what that voice is telling you. Movement is what shuts out that voice. So for example, I get in my car, open the door, put my workout clothes in the back seat. The voice comes. What do? I put my key inside the car ignition. I start my car. I back out of my parking space and I drive to the destination. That's how you do it. You keep moving forward. You take it one step at a time, literally one step at a time through the parking lot, through the door. That's how you shut it out. Again, it gets louder and it gets harder to ignore the more we entertain. Now, what happens on the flip side? You hear the voice. It says, take today off. You entertain the voice. You don't put your key in the ignition. You sit there and let that voice continue to speak, and it starts speaking louder. Then you tell yourself, oh, you know what? I forgot my water inside. That's your out. So you get out of your car. You walk back to the house. You go get your water. Then you sit down on the couch. You say, I'm going to just sit here for a couple minutes. And then I'll get up. And then I'll get in my car. But you don't do that. You sit there, you get comfortable. The clock is ticking. You know it takes you 15 minutes to get to the place. Now you only have 10 minutes to get there. Then the voice says, well, you're going to be 5 minutes late. You don't want to show up to class 5 minutes late. Everybody's going to be looking at you. Then you entertain it. You say, you start talking back. Well, it won't be that bad. And in the meantime, while you're going back and forth with this voice, another 5 minutes ticks by. Now, the voice is telling you, well, now you're going to be 15 minutes late to class. You almost missed the class. Then by the time you get dressed, you're going to miss half the class. You might as well take this one off. And that, folks, that's how it happens. That is how it happens. And speaking over the years, speaking to people that are in the martial arts world, that are in the fitness world, all of us have a similar story. All of us have sat in our car and let that time tick by and convinced ourselves to skip, to put it off until tomorrow. So the way that you overcome that voice is you shut it down early. You shut it down early by continuing to take steps toward what it is that you are doing. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. It is that simple. And the more you do that, the better you get at doing it. Like I said, the voice doesn't go away, But sometimes it's a whisper and sometimes it's a scream. And the way that you make sure that it stays a whisper is you continue to put one foot in front of the other. And now, on the flip side, the way that happens is that the voice will whisper, hey, take this week off. Take today off. And you would have already taken 10, 15 steps. You're in your car to where the next time you even next time the thought even crosses your mind, you're already halfway to where it is that you're going. Now you can't turn around. You're already walking in the door. So you got to outpace the voice. And it's simple. You put one foot in front of the other and outpace that voice. Because it always turns up timid, a little suggestion, a little nudge on the shoulder. Man, it'd be nice to take the day off. You deserve it. You've been working out a lot lately. It'll start off as a suggestion. And by the time, if you do it right, by the time it comes back, you're already up the road. You're already walking in the door. Action, 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 movement. That is what shuts the voice down. But all right, folks, hopefully you guys get some benefit from my story. Hopefully it tells you and it lets you see that it is not uncommon. You are not the only one. And hopefully my advice can help you overcome that voice. Let's keep it a whisper. Let's not let it scream at us. All right, guys. Coach Suley, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. This was Mat Chat.